You're nuts, dude.
Hmm?
You're nuts.
I'm nuts. Why?
Yeah. Did you want to go? Wait,
You're
how many?
nuts.
So like usually it's like three, two, one, go. And then
It's
I know, hey guys, that's like a counter. But when you like go that fast, how am I supposed to be able to pop out and go, hey guys, like for the first couple of seconds, I'm gonna be like processing, like, oh shoot, it's already started. And I didn't even have the chance to like know when I was gonna start because it was so fast.
Brian.
Hmm.
You've been doing this show for how long?
Yeah, I know.
You know what you're gonna say.
No, I don't actually don't know how long I've been doing it. I don't. Hey guys, welcome to my brother's basement.
Yes,
Welcome to my brother's basement.
it's a beautiful basement.
Um, I am currently without internet, so moved over to my brother's house for this evening. But I'm here, and I'll still be able to be your host today. Uh, so yeah, with me is Joe, and he's in his basement. And Princess, are you in your basement?
I don't have a basement.
Mm,
Princess is not in a basement. Well,
that's okay. We still love you, princess.
yeah, we do love you a little bit less though. I'm just kidding. Of course, we love you all the same. Um, so yeah, welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday, the show where we talk about whatever is on your mind.
Hmm.
This is the show where we talk about problems and issues and stuff. We're here to basically just be a friend, give some loving encouragement, some advice, perhaps, and mostly some perspective. As you go through life, we all have our struggles and difficulties, but hopefully we can take ours, make use of them, and share them with you so we can help you get over yours. We aren't professional psychologists, psychiatrists, or anything along those lines, but we can attempt to be a good friend. So if you try to sue us, you're suing a friend. And that's just wrong. Okay, so um,
That's great.
that's what that is. All right. So how you guys doing today? How you doing, Joe?
I'm great, man. It's great to be here. And you know what? I gotta side with Sole here. He says Joe's been going that fast for a while, maybe just not consistently anymore. And seriously, like you said, it's usually like three, two, one. It's
Oh, not that
never
slow.
ever like
Not
three,
that
two, one.
slow.
It's never like the way I count down.
It's
Princess is
usually
right.
seconds.
Joe starts the stream like a child counts. Yep, because sometimes it's just one.
It is. Sometimes, yeah, that's true. That's accurate. That's accurate.
On
Well,
one.
so I've never counted like a child counts, so I guess I just don't understand.
Yes, you did. You were a child
Mm-mm.
once and you
When I was a
counted.
child, I always counted what the microwave looked like. So I sat there and I watched the microwave and I memorized the speed. And so I always counted seconds pretty close to accurately
Oh,
since I was very little. Hmm.
wow. Well, I'm impressed.
Yeah. And I still do that today. Whenever I think about counting seconds, I just imagine the microwave ticking by
Hmm.
and that's how I do it. And I just pull the headphones out of my. So I hate these kind of headphones, guys. They're so annoying because I just ripped them out of my head. Oh, that's gonna happen more than once. Ah, man. Oh well. So yeah. Anyone else have problems with these headphones?
I do.
Watch the microwave. Yeah, I watched the microwave. I was. I mean, what else are you gonna do? You got 30
sometimes you just
seconds. What are you gonna do?
sometimes you got to watch the microwave. I mean,
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, how's it gonna cook without you watching? If a tree falls in the middle of the woods and no one's there to watch it, does it does it move? Or is
I
it
t-
just I don't know. I don't know. No,
you know,
that's
I will
not.
tell you this one thing. This was crazy. Speaking of trees falling, this was
Mhm.
actually a couple years ago, but this was one of the scariest things that ever happened. I was driving, I was doing inspections, and all of a sudden this huge storm blew in, wind and rain and crazy
Yeah.
everywhere. And I'm on this out in the woods, and on this road out in the woods. And in front of me, I watched this tree fall across the road. It's probably like this big around, like I don't know, what's that, 10 inches
Yeah, it's a
trunk,
sizable
right?
tree.
So what it was too big to move. Like I could not move it.
Oh,
Somebody would have to
wow.
come and cut it up. It was so. So that happened, and then all of a sudden, I hear this behind me,
Oh no.
and a tree like this big around
Oh.
fell behind me
So onto the road?
across the road. So I was stuck.
You were just, how have I never heard this story before?
I don't know. I
This
don't
is
know.
nuts, dude. What?
It was crazy. It was like boom, and I'm like, whoa, I'm totally trapped here.
Yeah, where are you gonna hide?
That's,
Nowhere.
I'm
If
like,
another
there's
tree falls,
nothing I
what are
can
you gonna
do.
do?
Yep,
Yeah.
I'm stuck here until
The
this
best thing you
guy.
can do is get out of your car because you can't dodge when you're in the car.
Mm-hmm.
The,
Yep.
yeah.
I got out of the car, and it was raining, but so I went and tried to pull the tree, the one in the front. There
Yeah.
was no way the one in the back was
Yeah.
moving, right? And there was a guy who lived just not very far away. He saw the whole thing, and he came over with a
Oh.
chainsaw. And so he cut it up, and we just threw all the logs off and got me back on the road. And then 5 minutes later, it was clear and sunny.
Were you in Michigan?
Yeah.
There you go. Oh my gosh. That's nuts.
That was pretty scary.
Could you imagine watching, like being in the car is scary. Could you imagine watching it from the other side? That's terrifying too. You're like,
Yeah.
whoa, that almost hit that guy. Whoa, that almost hit the guy again, and he's trapped. I gotta go get my chainsaw. That's what he thinks. If he's not scared now, I'm gonna go get my chainsaw.
I was so thankful for him and his chainsaw. I wasn't scared of his chainsaw.
Right. Could you imagine? Now that's a horror movie.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Yep, that was pretty nuts. But anyway,
Yeah.
we should start the show, don't you think?
Let's do it. Awesome. If you don't like the weather, wait a minute. That's right. So that's how it goes. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and read through the list of who we got on our list. Yeah. And who we got on our backlog, that's a better answer. I'm gonna go ahead and read the list that we've got of people who have posted topics prior to this moment now. And yeah, feel free to, if you want, feel free, if you have any kind of topic you want us to talk about, anything in your mind that's troubling you, maybe it's family life, maybe friendship, maybe romance, or maybe, you had a recent death in the family, you just want to talk about it. Anything's good. If you want to talk about anything, feel free to write it down in the chat here. Send us an email to that's dww@bss.studio, or write on our forums at bss.studio.
Mm-hmm. Princess just sent you the links right
Perfect.
there.
Thanks, Princess. You're awesome. So we've got Ian Lum, Pear, Lilo McGee, Ezekiel Games, Plowin, Dracon, Lord Francium, Kendra, LG, Lilo McGee again, which is also known as Little Lily. Yeah, that's it. And an anonymous person. So yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Well, I see Kendra here.
Uh-huh. Yeah, absolutely. Let's do Kendra.
Okay.
I believe Anonymous is here as well, but let's start with Kendra.
And Helmarok Hero, did he just...
Helmarok Hero actually doesn't have one on the list.
Oh,
so.
okay, gotcha. I just saw the dab and I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
That's like, that wakes me up a little bit,
I get it. No one's dropping a Yo, what's up with your mama that in the chat recently, so maybe I should start asking for it. Hey, Kendra, could you drop a Yo, what's up with your mama that in the chat?
She gave you a thumbs up. That's that.
Oh, that's what that is? Nice. That's the shorthand for Yo, what's up with your mama
What's up with your mama dad?
What's up with your mama dad?
Yo, what's up with your mama dad?
Awesome. All right. So let's do Kendra's.
Yes.
Thanks, Kendra. You're amazing. Yo, what's up with your mom and dad with that? But yo, what's up with your mom with that? It's supposed to be and that, but that's totally fine. However you want to say it.
Yeah, that works.
Kendra posted a topic. It's titled Business, Life, and Cats. And Princess is going to do the honors of reading it for us. Whenever she's ready.
Oh.
Take your time. Don't let me interrupt you. Jeez, I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh.
I wait. I'm patient.
Me too. Me too.
Yep. We could be here all week, but we're not going to be. We're going to
Yeah, because you're gonna read it.
That's
Yes.
good. That's
Thanks.
awesome.
Hello, everyone. It's been a long time since I've been able to write one on here. Just so you know, this might be a little over the place, but then again, so am I. I've been busy with work as well as setting up for my own business. I'm almost done getting things set up for a proper art studio. I now have an Etsy page, but I don't have a lot on it right now, except for my coasters and candle holders. I've also gotten commissioned for a few drawings for other VA ASMR artists. I haven't had time to work on my YouTube channel, but I am slowly getting back into it. I have also recently started praying even more and thanking God every morning for me being alive, for having a roof overhead, for everything He has given me in life. I felt much better ever since I started doing that. I don't remember if I ever talked about this, but Angel passed away a few months ago, and sadly it happened while my sister and I were at work. It was a rough few days. Even though we knew her time was coming, we still weren't ready. Honestly, though we don't think she. What? Honestly, though, we don't think she has left. Oh. My dad and I have been hearing her meowing from the laundry room, and recently so has one of my brothers. We also have a lot of stuff just randomly fall when there's no explanation for it, so she hasn't really left us. She's still queen of our household. Anyways, recently a long-haired grayish blue cat showed up on our property. It is so friendly and loves to be petted and cuddled and gets along with the other cats really well. When I first interacted with it, it gave me this sad, scared meow, but I felt it trusted me. It reached out its paw for me to pick it up and hold it. We think someone dropped it off at our place because they saw all the cats we had and thought we would take care of it. Its fur is so soft and well groomed that it couldn't have been an outdoor cat. My parents don't want to keep it though because Angel passed away a few months ago and they aren't ready for another indoor cat. Besides that, they don't want to deal with all the hair of a long-haired cat. If I had my own place, I would keep it in a heartbeat. I gave her the name Lady Viva. Ziva, as my younger brother calls her. Gray. She is such a wonderful cat, and I feel bad that we can't take her inside. So, unfortunately for me, I have to take her to a pet shelter 1 hour away. However, I'm not going to be selfish and keep the cat living outside. So this Saturday, I will be taking it to the shelter where I know it will be properly cared for and given a good home. I have found that this cat doesn't care for hard food and prefers soft canned food, but will eat the hard food if there isn't anything else. I hope she'll find a good loving home. Sorry for how long this was, I just need to talk this all out. Kendra. Update! I took Lady to the shelter, and she already has many people interested in her, so that makes me feel a lot better that she's going to find a good home in no time. From Kendra.
Awesome. Yeah. Is it Viva or Viva? Just curious. I don't know how you're gonna write that in the chat so that I'll know. I guess write double E if it's Viva and Viva if it's Viva. If it's Viva, it's V-I-V-A. V-I-V-A, I mean. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. It's great to have an update from you. It's been a little while, like you said. But don't worry about it being long. Princess likes to read them, so it's great. It's like I said, it's good to hear an update. It's also awesome that you are praying more. That's really good to hear. I recently started trying to do that more myself, and that's always rewarding. And it's also great that you had already taken the cat to the shelter. So sounds like things are going pretty good, despite Angel passing away. It's kind of interesting though. You said even though you guys knew it were coming, you weren't ready for it. I don't think there is a ready. Hardly ever is there like, yeah, we're ready, for them to pass on. I don't think that like almost ever happens, except for, yeah, I don't know, probably doesn't. But I'm thinking the only case is like when someone's really, really old and they're on their deathbed for like 6 months, and you're like, all right, let's just let them go. Just let them go. And at that point, I don't think you're still ready, but it just has to happen, and you're more accepting of it. But yeah. So, and it's also, again, another great thing to hear that you've got your art stuff going. How far is that coming along? Are you got your Etsy page, and you're working on your studio. So I'm curious what if you've got things set up for a proper studio yet or not. What's that look like exactly? But yeah, I don't know exactly what you want us to talk about here, other than just passing of animals and that kind of thing. You mentioned some stuff about your cat being still present in the house, like a ghost. I think that's a pretty good topic too.
Mm-hmm.
That's something we can talk about. I don't mind talking about that kind of topic. So I don't know, Joe. Where do you want to take this? It's your turn. It's up to you.
It's my turn. Yeah.
Yeah, it's your turn to go. I'm giving it over to you, man.
It's my turn. No, thank you. First of all, Kendra, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for sharing parts of your life with us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're so honored, and that goes for everybody. Anybody who posts stuff, wow, thank you, because it's just such a humbling experience that you guys would be willing to share, you know, pieces of your life and things that are going on, and then, you know, like Kendra, you were here quite a bit, you know, a while back, and we haven't seen you in a while, and now here you are with an update on how things are going. It's always great to hear updates and hear how things are going for people, you know, as life goes and we move on to greater adventures and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, Kendra, I'm really, really proud of you. This is some amazing, amazing stuff that's going on. You got your studio, like Ryan was just talking about, an Etsy page, and you've gotten some commissions for some drawings, which is great. Yeah. Kendra says, I still have to get some shelves up to organize my paints. I've been making magnets and keychains. I shall be adding them to my Etsy page sometime this week. That's great. I'm really happy to hear that, because, you know, sometimes we get caught. I've been stuck in ruts before where, you know, things aren't necessarily moving. You know, we feel like you know, there's all kinds of stuff happening, but nothing's really moving forward, and we just kind of feel stuck. But it sounds to me like you have some progress happening, which is really, really cool. So thank you for the update. As far as the cat still kind of haunting your house, I'm with Ryan. That's pretty interesting. I remember my brother that they used to have some hauntings when he used to live in Marquette, Michigan, and they were in this really, really old house, and they had some really bizarre things happening in that house, like
Yeah.
haunting type stuff. And it was like a glass of water would be sitting on the table, and then it would slide off the table, like, and against the wall.
No way. That's nuts.
Yeah. Like, I wasn't there to see this. You know, this is just him telling me this stuff, you know. And apparently when
and he's not going to be lying about it or making things up.
No.
Like, I know your brother's pretty not like that.
Yep. And, you know, doors would slam, all kinds of stuff. And when they would be gone, the neighbors would report that lights were going on and off upstairs and all kinds of stuff. So it's like, whoa, kind of spooky. But
that is.
Yeah, but you've got cat hauntings, which seems to me like that'd be much more friendly.
Well, it depends on the cat.
Yeah,
like with this cat, yeah.
Yeah, it probably depends on the cat for sure, and I'm sure. But yeah, that's pretty cool. But
you ever seen cats knock things off of tables, like you know, sliding a glass with water in it?
Nope, I've never seen a cat do that. I've seen cats knock things off of tables before.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, it is definitely her. I have people ask if we could be hearing the cats from outside, but it can't be them because their meows are so quiet. This meow is like attention-seeking, loud, feed me now meow.
Feed me now.
So definitely
you're dead.
her.
You can't eat. Oh, forgot.
Wow, that's great. Yeah. So Kendra, was there anything specific with this you wanted us to talk about? I mean, I'm with Ryan. I mean, we can grab a few things out of here and just be happy and stuff, which is great. But was there anything else?
Thanks for all the airplanes back up.
Yes.
It's been a while since I got to see them.
Yes. I gotta break the silence. Nothing specific, really. Okay, cool.
Okay, cool.
Well, I really have to say, first of all, Kendra, I'm also proud of you for taking the cat to the shelter, even though you didn't want to, for
Mhm.
honoring, what your household wanted to have happen and all that kind of stuff. And like, I think that's really cool that you did it anyway. And I also am really happy that it worked out, so that the cat found a home so quickly. That's always a good thing too. So anyway, I don't have a whole lot, but Ryan, did you have anything else?
I mean, I don't really have a whole lot, but other than I'm proud of you, Kendra. I think it's great to hear things are going great. Keep it up. It sounds like you're doing the right things, and that's fantastic. you know, Ghosts are an interesting thing. I suppose we could talk a little bit about that. I think that there's a lot of people that are like, well, I don't believe in ghosts. And that's fine. But I think at this point, with the amount of people that say they have ghost stuff going on over the course of thousands and thousands of years now, it's hard to deny that it's a possibility. Um, there's some scientific things behind it, and there's some spiritual things behind it, and that's what makes it an interesting subject. Um, Science seems to be lacking in the department, but because it's hard to study and test them.
Mm.
But one time I theorized a long time ago when I was a kid um, that because electrons have a certain sort of function where they continue like a operation, it could be an enormous amount of electrons fueled by an energy that was like really intense. So if someone was really angry, it would fuel a lot of like negative electrons, which are always negative, but it would fuel those negative electrons and it would cause like things to happen. Um, Even after they passed, those electrons would still be there, even though they've passed. Their presence still in that house because of the electrons and that crazy energy that they were firing off,
Mm.
right, when they were there. So they had a lot of energy. So even though they're gone and they're past, the energy remains in that house. Um, and that was a weird, just random thing I thought of when I was a kid. And then all of a sudden they started coming out with these things where they would go into a room with an electron like reader where they would see what has a lot of energy to find ghosts. And I was like, yeah, you're welcome. I made that up.
That was
You're
me,
welcome,
man.
ghost hunters.
Bang.
I made that up when I was like, I made that up like 12 years ago, and now you're doing it. So good job. We'll see the rest of the world's catching on. No, I don't know what kind of reality there is behind that, but it's kind of an interesting thing. But as far as ghosts though go, if you're like being haunted by a ghost, like a human, I would recommend praying for them, and that's about it. Pray for them because if they're a ghost and they're trapped inside of our reality instead of passing into the next life, then it sounds like they need a little help. So pray for them. See what you can do for the ghost. If the ghost is still here, they need you to do something for them, probably. So try to do something for them. I know it's scary, it's spooky. Like, geez, they're really aggressive, this ghost. Well, I can understand. Like a lot of people, when the ghosts happen, they just kind of get scared and say, someone else do it. They get like a priest on the scene, and the priest does something about it. You know what the priest usually does? They pray for him. And sometimes they do an exorcism if it goes that far. Usually not. Usually they just go, okay, we'll pray for him.
They might say mass or something at the house.
Yeah, they'll say like a mass at the house or something. They'll do a ceremonial mass or whatever. But yeah, and then that usually helps. But that's so you can do that yourself. Not the mass, but you can pray for the ghosts and you can try to figure out what's going on with them and ask God to help them. So if you're being haunted, there you go. That's your best bet. That's what I got.
Yep.
So
Prayer generally tends to be your best bet anyway, I think.
Yeah.
That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah.
Yeah, Kendra, thank you so much for the topic, and for the topics or whatever for the post. It was nice to read up and catch up. So you're awesome, Kendra. We love you. Yeah, I'm gonna go down this list again. Again, if you're here, feel free to drop something in the chat, and if you have a topic that you want us to talk about, please just write it down, and we'll get to it. So we've got Ian Lobb, Pear, Lil McGee, Ezekiel Games, Flowen, Dragon, Lord Francian, Elegy and Anonymous. I know that Anonymous is here, at least I believe they are. And I think that's all we got for right now.
Well, let's do it.
Thanks, Haley.
And at some
Hope
point,
you're
we
doing
should
awesome.
also do one of Little McGee's, because again, they can't
Oh,
actually.
yes.
Oh,
That's
that's right.
right.
They can't make
So-
it. They can't be here. You know, let's just do that one right now. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's cool.
Let's do the top one. Because I thought about that last time and then we didn't do it. So
Yes.
okay. So,
how's that
This
link
is
looking?
from Lil McGee, also known as Little Lily. What did you ask?
I was just saying, how's the link looking? It looks
Oh, the
great.
link is beautiful.
The link is
It
great.
pretty much says this. It's the same link every time because YouTube puts the ...
No, but you have to
right
click
where
it.
it would change.
You have to click it, and then
Oh,
you
yeah.
really see how amazing it is.
Oh, okay. I'll take your word for it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is Little McGee. The title is Alone and Ignored. And Francis will read it for us.
I have a loving family and friends, but my family doesn't seem to think that I have an opinion on a few things. We are moving to a new state, and I don't like it there. I want to speak up, but sometimes when I do, nothing happens, like it doesn't matter. And with the other problem I have is that I'm only in touch with one of my friends, and she's my best friend. I haven't made another friend in a year, with building our house and and I'm just afraid that I can't bring up the confidence to. It seems like everyone I meet is someone that is completely different from me, or just doesn't talk much, or just seems rude. I'm not sure what to do at all. I did comment that I'm feeling better because of your music, but I still have to face things, and that I shouldn't be afraid. I was wondering if I could have your opinion. Thanks. Sincerely, Little McGee.
Awesome. Thank you, Lil McGee. Thanks for posting this, and I hope you do get the chance to watch this later.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you know what? I love how you start this off. You have a loving family and a friend, and that's important, right? I think that's really great because there are many times, we go through life and we forget to count that fact that we do have a loving family, even if at times there's some dissonance or it seems like we're not being respected or cherished the right way. It's definitely a very important part to note that you do have a loving family, despite everyone's imperfections and lacking of affection or respect at times. So, yeah, I really like how you started this off. But yeah, I think, one thing, you're moving to another place, or you already are moved. I'm not quite sure. And then, so you're losing contact with all your friends, and you have to make a bunch of new friends. I can understand how that's pretty difficult. And also, when you feel like no one's listening to you, and no one's hearing your opinions about things, that can also be really aggravating. That can get on your nerves a lot. It's hard to have your opinion ignored or your ideas or your thoughts or your desires ignored over and over for a really long period of time. So I applaud you for sticking with it, if that's the case, because that's not fun, right? But yeah, hopefully we can talk about some things here that will help with making it so that when you speak up about your opinions, maybe at least something happens, even if that something is just being heard and having a conversation about it. Even if you don't get your way about it, it's at least important to have that conversation, right? And then also talk about making friends and finding the right people, because I understand not everybody's the right person to make a friend with, to be honest. There are some people that it's better to choose not to be their friend. And then there are times where it's like, I can't relate to this person, but that doesn't mean I can't be their friend, right? There are times when we don't share a whole lot in common, but you can still have a really good friendship despite that. So yeah, thanks for giving us a couple of topics to talk about, and hopefully we do them justice. At this point, I'm gonna get over to the wiser of the two of us, Joe, and he's gonna share with us what he thinks about these topics here.
Well, first of all, Lil McGee, thank you again for the topic, and thank you for sharing part of your life. This is tough. I definitely know what it feels like to not be listened to. I know what it feels like to have your opinion not matter. I know what it feels like when you feel like you've lost all your friends, and I know what that feels like, and it can really, really hurt. And I'm so sorry that you have to deal with this. I also know what it feels like to be surrounded by rude people, and I'm wondering, are you moving to Michigan?
Yeah,
Because,
right? Ah, man.
because that's it kind of seems that way here sometimes. There are great people in Michigan.
Yeah.
There are wonderful people, but
That's a mix.
yes,
You got extremes
absolutely.
on both ends.
Absolutely. And sometimes it's just that we kind of insert ourselves through no fault of our own. We just end up being around a bunch of people who are kind of rude and, not very nice. And it can be really hard to deal with. Um, One thing I'd encourage you to do is, spend some time on the Static P Discord, the Static P friends. There are some wonderful, amazingly nice people there. If you can do that, um, there are great people there to hang out with, that'll talk to you, that'll be friends with you. Do whatever you can to stay in contact with your best friend, whether it's online or on the phone or whatever, because that can be a real source of help for you as you navigate this. But sometimes, we just kind of get dropped in a situation and we feel just so alone. And I totally understand that. I'm with you. And you know, I, w- I wish there was something magical that I could say that would make everything just feel better. But sometimes as we go through challenges like this, there's a reason for it. And it's not that we caused it. It's not like it's our fault, but sometimes we're being prepared for something that we need to have that strength for. And I've gone through this many times where I've felt deserted, alone, like people don't listen to me, like all kinds of stuff. And in those moments, I don't realize it at the time because it just hurts, right? You're in the middle of it and it hurts. And your heart aches, and sometimes maybe you just want to curl up and cry. All of those things. But later on, I'm faced with a situation where the fact that I went through that time of desolation, through that time of desert, it picks up and it reminds me, oh yeah, it was a good thing you went through that, because now you're ready for this, and it could be just the simple fact that there's another person out there that needs your help. And I've been faced with that so many times, where somebody's hurting, and the only way that I could ever empathize with that person in that hurting situation is that I had to go through a similar pain in order to empathize with them. Say, for instance, my wife and I, before we got married, we had this pre-marriage counseling, right? Where we went to the church, and they had this couple that was there, and they were doing all this pre-marriage counseling. And what's funny is they picked for pre-marriage counseling a couple who had like this perfect ideal marriage, and that was like the worst thing they could have done, because that doesn't prepare you for the issues. Like, and then so if somebody's going to be a counselor, unless they're professionally trained, right? I mean, if you see a psychologist or a psychiatrist or something, they have education behind them that teaches them, okay, if somebody's responding like this, these are some warning signs to look out for. This is how you can guide them. These are some things you can help do for them. But when it comes to just counseling and listening and helping somebody through their problem, if you haven't gone through that problem, you're not going to be as good of a counselor. I'll tell you, Lil McGee, you are not the only one that feels this way. It's amazing to me how many people feel alone. How many people might feel deserted? How many people feel like their voice doesn't count? There's so many of us out there that go through this from time to time. And it's funny because we feel so alone, but we're not, because like a whole bunch of other people feel this way too. And so, we're not alone, but we are, right? It's weird. But so I just want to encourage you. Don't forget that you're an amazing creation. Don't forget that your life does matter. There's never been anybody like you before, ever. There will never be anybody like you again, ever, in the history of the universe. You have something special to bring to the world. And it's going to be awesome. But all of our lives, we kind of have this drama that we play out. We have this drama of good times and bad times. We have times where we're really, really excited and things are great. And we have times where it just stinks and it's hard. And I always wonder, would the good times be as good if we didn't have the bad times to compare them against? And vice versa. If we didn't have this roller coaster, if we didn't see how low the valley went, would the hill seem as high? I mean, if it was just straight and we were just on this high the whole time, that wouldn't be as exciting. The highs wouldn't feel so good. It would kind of dull the experience. It reminds me of a story. There was a fisherman. This is not a real story. Okay, the fisherman dies, and he's like, he wakes up and he's like, oh my gosh, I'm dead, and
good story, bro. That wasn't the end. Okay.
The end.
Sorry, I just wanted to end there. That'd be funny. Reminds me of this story. This fisherman dies, and then he wakes up. He's like, "Oh, I'm dead."
Darn it! No, here. So he wakes up and he's in this trout stream, right? He's a fly fisherman, and so he's in this trout stream, and it's a gorgeous day. The sun's shining, the water's glistening, the water's cascading over the rocks, and it's nice and crisp and beautiful. And he gets his fly rod and he just throws a fly out there, and as soon as it hits the water, boom, trophy trout, man, just good fight. And he's like, oh yeah, this is great. And he puts it in his bucket and he goes and he tosses. He has perfect toss again. Boom, boom, catches another one right off the bat. And he was like, whoa, this is amazing. This must be heaven. And so he's at this for a while. And just time after time, he's catching awesome trout after awesome trout. And then it starts to dawn on him, this isn't heaven. This is actually the other place, because this is taking something that I enjoyed and made it dull. Because now every time he casts, he catches a trophy trout. Every time. So there's no struggle, there's no hardship to compare the good against. And so the good doesn't feel good anymore. It just becomes routine. It becomes blah. It becomes mumbo jumbo. So the point of that story, I don't necessarily know what the point, except for we've got good times and bad times. And right now, you might be in a valley. And it's painful. And sometimes it's okay to cry. It's okay to hurt. It's okay to let those feelings, to don't resist them. Let them, take their course through you. Because on the other side, we can heal. We can experience greater goods as a result of sometimes some pretty intense pain. And I was just about to turn it over to Ryan, and his
Yeah,
earbud
glad you
fell
didn't.
out.
'Cause my ear thing flies out. Man, I hate these type of headphones.
I
Oh,
know, I know. See,
uh,
this is Ryan's pain right now. You know, he's gonna
yeah,
when he gets back to his
I'm gonna be like, oh,
studio,
I love these
he's gonna have,
headphones.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, studio headphones are so nice. Uh, okay.
But anyway, Lil McGee, thank you, and I hope some of that's helpful for you. And just understand, you're in our thoughts and you're in our prayers. And we love you. So with that, I'm gonna turn it over to Ryan. Ryan.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Joe. I appreciate that. We definitely do have our peaks and valleys in life. Seems like they never end, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny because a lot of times it's the valleys that we find the most joy in, even though it's like the highs are what we look for, and that's where we expect to find all of the happiness and joy. The valleys really are what create that. You know, it's the climb, right? And without it, there's not as much joy. So it's good to it's good to have that in life. It's good to suffer, even though that's not fun. But yeah, continuing on, as as you're saying, it's hard when you feel alone, right? Because who do you have to lean on and talk about it to, right? So first off, thanks for coming to us. Thanks for talking about it to us, and hopefully you can do the same with the other people in your life, like your friend and your parents. Um, Sometimes you can just bring this stuff in front of your parents, and you'd be surprised at the response. I know it can be really hard and it takes a lot of courage, but if you feel like your parents aren't listening to your opinion, like it doesn't matter, it's it's probably about time you let them know. And I don't mean to let them know in such a way where they feel criticized, because that's the last thing you want to do. If you're whether you're an adult or you're a child, going in front of anybody and saying, "Hey, how come you never pay attention to me?" is immediate like is an immediate is going to get an immediate response that's very sour. It is. Like if I said to Joe, "Hey Joe, how you never pay attention to me?" It's going to be different because of our friendship. That would never
Right.
mind. Yeah, okay, most people.
I'd be like, road goes two ways, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess like if I went to most people and said, "Hey, how come you never how come it seems like you don't care about my opinion and all that kind of stuff?" They're going to feel attacked. They're like, "You're criticizing me and how good I am at being a human being. You're pointing out one of my flaws. Thanks." You know, so don't do that. But take this opportunity, because this is something that's important. This is something you should talk to about your parents, because it will open up your relationship with them and it will actually create more respect for you and for them, for both of you. But in order to do that, you have to open up the conversation. And let me give you some examples. I understand it's very difficult. I understand if you don't want to do it, but I would highly recommend it. And it goes a little bit like this. You walk into the kitchen or wherever they're at and you open up a conversation that has nothing to do with what you really want to talk about. All right. Nothing to do with it. So like I always use this as an example. "Hey mom, what's your favorite kind of donut?" Or "Hey dad, what, blah blah blah." Anything.
Have
Anything
you
that's just small talk.
Have you ever started a conversation with your mom like that?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, but it's never been because I needed to talk about like something deeper.
Okay.
But it is a random topic that is lighthearted, right? It could be the answer doesn't matter. It's just friendly. It's surface level conversation. It's not deep, but it's still friendly and it's enjoyable, right? Especially asking someone about something they like. People like that, and if it makes them think like, "Oh, favorite kind of donut? I don't know. There's a lot of really good ones, That's great. It's a great answer, right? And so you have a conversation. And whenever that conversation ends, you start up the real conversation. All right. So you let that conversation carry out. And when it comes to an end, you're like, "Hey, I actually want to talk to you about something." Okay. Now you get their attention, right? It's not going to be like if you walk into the room and you're just like, hey, mom, we need to talk, or hey, mom, I want to talk to you about something, there's going to be this somber, sad, or tension. There's going to be this tension in the atmosphere. But if you just carry on a normal conversation and then say, hey, oh, I wanted to talk to you about something, instead of sounding tense, it ends up sounding almost like, oh yeah, what's that? Because you've led into a conversation that was lighthearted from the start. And you don't have to talk about donuts, you can talk about anything. Just ask a question that's lighthearted and carry out a conversation. So here's what you say to them. Hey, so lately since we've moved, I've been feeling kind of lonely, and it's kind of rough, and I feel like, when I give you guys my opinion, sometimes you guys don't say anything to me. So it feels like I'm being ignored. And I know you're not ignoring me, but it would be nice to at least, I don't know, like have a response or something. Because I don't I don't ever want to do that to you, and I don't think you want to do that to me. But that's that's sometimes what I feel like. And they might feel a little bit like you're accusing them of messing up. So it's important to always start with what the fear is. Like, for example, if I'm worried they're going to feel like I'm accusing them of something, then the first thing I say that comes out of my mouth is, hey, I'm not accusing you of doing anything wrong. Okay? So that's the first thing in my mouth. Then I have my disclaimer there. Now, whatever I say, they know it's not to make them feel like they did something wrong, right? So you say, hey, I don't mean to say this because, I think you did something wrong, because I don't think you did. But a lot of times when I give my opinion, it seems like no one says anything, like it doesn't matter. And so it just kind of hurts. And then you'll get a response, and you're gonna open up a conversation, and they're gonna probably be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that was going on. I'll try to listen to you more." You might get a response like that. It's probably gonna be the response you get, or it might open up a whole bigger conversation, and that'll be great. So that's what I would recommend, if you're trying to get your opinion listened to, if you're trying to get your thoughts and ideas to have some weight. What's important is this. In my life growing up, I had a really wonderful mother. And one of the most amazing things that she did for me and my brother was she respected us. She basically told us, like, hey, I respect you kids. I respect your ideas and your opinions. She she always said, like, I'm never afraid of leaving you guys alone, because I know you guys are always going to do the right things. That's respect, right? That's respecting someone. That's awesome. And because she told us out loud that she respected us, it made us respect her back. See, the human brain is wired to do this funny thing. Like, if I say, if someone agrees with me, right? If someone agrees with me, I immediately think they're smart because they agreed with me and I think I'm smart.
Mm-hmm.
If someone respects me, then I immediately respect them because they're clearly in the right for respecting me. I'm respectable. I'm smart. I'm intelligent. I do the right things, blah, 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 right? So if you do that for them, if you let them know their ideas matter, that their opinions matter, when they say something, sometimes even maybe you aren't sure what to say, but sometimes saying, wow, that's a really good idea, or wow, I didn't think about that. That's interesting. Saying things like that will make them feel like you respect them and their ideas. And in turn, they're going to respect you and yours. It sounds backwards because we feel like it's a tug of war. We feel like only one person can win sometimes, right? If their idea is the one we go with, then they were respected and I was disrespected. But that's not true. If their idea wins, celebrate that. Because they are going to be more willing to let your idea win from then on. And when your idea wins, they're going to respect and celebrate that, right? You don't want it to be a tug of war. You don't want it so that when you win, everybody else is like, they won with their opinion, they were right, and I hate them. We don't want that, right? I remember growing up and having that experience with my brother, and just having like when I was right about something and he was wrong, like that rarely ever happened. And it happened so rarely, you would think, oh my gosh, I was right for once. And I would celebrate and I'd get excited and crazy, right? No, no. Immediately, it felt terrible. Immediately, it felt terrible because I knew my brother was hurting inside because I was right and he was wrong. Immediately, it felt terrible because I realized I didn't want to win a battle. I didn't want to win a battle. I didn't want there to be a fight to begin with. So we shouldn't make it a battle. We shouldn't make it a fight. Respect doesn't work like that. Respect is something that you experience together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's when one person is respected by another, both people win. That's what real respect looks like. So respect them in that way. And hopefully they'll catch on and do the same back. And I'm sure they will. Especially if you open up a conversation about it. As for, feeling alone at school or wherever you go, not having very many friends, that's difficult. I remember going through middle school and high school, most of high school like that. It was very difficult for me. I just didn't have very many friends, and I mean, I've told a story on this stream many times, and I won't tell it again this time because I told it last stream probably. So you can check out that story, but if you want to watch last week's episode. But it's important. I found the most effective thing when it comes to making friends. There's two things. I'm going to say two things that are really effective. First thing that's really effective is, I said it last stream, it's this. What's most important when you're dealing with other people is not what you look like, but how they look to themselves. So make them feel good about themselves, right? If you're trying to make friends, just talk to them about things that you're impressed with them about. And you don't have to impress them with how cool you are. Just impress them with how cool they are. And they're going to like you a lot because we like to be around the people that we feel good being around. Mm-hmm. And when you feel good about yourself, that's one of the best feelings. So you make other people feel like that, and you're going to have a lot of people wanting to be around you. Mm-hmm. The other thing is this. Work on, how do I say this? The best way to say it. Well, I don't know what the best way to say it is, but I'll just say it like this. Another thing that makes finding friends a lot easier is start working on becoming the best you can be. Start working on the things where you need to, grow, and work on those things. Don't pay too much attention to like all the people around you. Just be yourself. And by be yourself, I mean, be the best you. Don't worry about what you look like doing it. Just be the best you, because that is the real you, and that is being yourself. Be that. And I know that takes work, and you have to do things you're not used to doing, and you have to do things that are maybe awkward or scary. But doing that, what happens is this. Suddenly, as you work on yourself, you start to be more satisfied with yourself. And your self-esteem goes up. People naturally want to be around people who have high self-esteem. People naturally kind of flock towards people who have a high self-esteem. Why? Because they're inviting, because they're easy to get along with, because they're open. It doesn't look like they're hiding anything, because they don't, they're the kind of people that that are approachable. And when you approach them, they're not focused on themselves. They're focused on the person that's talking to them. They're focused on you. And that takes a high self-esteem, because when you try to talk to someone and you have a low self-esteem, the only person you're thinking about is you. You go up to someone, you're having a conversation, you keep on thinking to yourself, like, oh, what do they think of me? Or, what do I say next? I don't want to look dumb. I don't want to look stupid. Oh, did they just say a smart word? I don't even know what that word means. I can't tell them. you're constantly thinking about yourself. But if you can stop thinking about yourself, suddenly you can start thinking about them when you're having a conversation. And that makes having a conversation a lot more enjoyable for both people and making friends a lot easier. So people naturally come towards you if you have a high self-esteem. And if you want a high self-esteem, I know that's not easy, but just start working on yourself. Start working on, not like working on yourself, but there's a lot of ways to work on yourself. But I guess the best way is to try to be the best version of yourself. Act that out. What does your hero look like? What does the best version of you look like? Imagine that. Imagine that. Take some time to think about that. Is it the kind of person that always reaches out for other people, like, in their time of need? Is it the kind of person that can always be cool-headed when things go wrong? Is it the kind of person that can correct someone when they're doing a bad thing? Is it the kind of person that stands up for another person? What kind of person is the best person to you? The best version of yourself? What do you see that looking like? Start to act like that. And you'll find your self-esteem goes pretty high. And I talked for a while. So, Joe, did you have anything you wanted to follow up with?
Man, you covered that really well, I must say. There's
Tried to cover
one
all the
thing
bases.
you did great. There's one phrase in this post that I wanted to zero in on for a second, and it was I did comment that I'm feeling better because of your music, but I still have to face things, and that I shouldn't be afraid.
Mm.
And that is a very awesome nugget of wisdom that you have there, because yes, we do have to face things. Yep. And it's unfortunate sometimes. But most of the time I've spent a lot of my life running from things, and then I still have to face it. Trying to, work a situation to, not have it happen the way I don't want it to, but then eventually it continues to come back around and I have to face it. Sometimes there's no getting around it, and it's better to just, man, it would have been way better to just do it in the first place. A lot of less stress, a lot of less, heartache and heartbreak and all kinds of stuff, right? If I just faced it in the moment. And I wanted to encourage you that sometimes I had to do this to myself today, twice, actually. Twice. Once I had to do it because I put my route, I'm a property inspector, and so I had my route put together, and I was like, that's not a very good route. I don't like the way that looks, like, I don't like where I'm ending up at certain times of day. I'm looking at the territory. I'm like, boy, if I could. And then finally I just was like, nope, that's the route. It might stink, but you know what? I'm going to do it. And I forced myself into that. And you know what? It was fine. Unexpected things happened along the way. I forgot a bunch of stuff after I was like a half an hour into the trip, and I had to go back home and get the stuff. So that set me back an hour, because half hour back to where I was, right? So that got thrown in there too. But the unexpected things kind of spice things up a little bit once in a while. But the point is to face it. And then the next thing was I was exercising, and I'm in the middle of, I'm actually putting together a workout program and filming them right now. And and I looked at this workout and I was like, okay.
Hitting it hard too, man.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna go into all that, but because of a filming schedule, I have to do more than the daily requirement, let's just say. But anyway, so I looked at it and I'm just like, and I'm in the last day, the last couple days of this program, right? So it's really hard because it's designed to escalate and get harder toward the end, because it should.
So you
So
have a
anyway,
bunch of oh geez.
what's that?
So not only is it getting harder, you're also doing multiple of them
Yes.
at a time when you're not.
Yes,
All right.
I'm learning new medical terms that I won't bring up here. But anyway, so uh, I just looked at it and I was like, you know what? I just need to start. It's going to be painful anyway, you know? It's going to be painful now or it's going to be painful later. I might as well have it be painful now. And sometimes that can just be the way to go. You know, we run in and we go boom, headlong, and we take care of it. I was talking to Joe Bohan. He's one of the Black Static and Swerve owners, about some, you know, stuff going on and, you know, some things that I was having to face. And he was like, well, it looks like, so if this happens, you know, then you win. And, you know, it might be kind of painful, but in the end, you win. And then it looks like if this other thing happens, if you do that, then you win as well. It still might be painful, but, you know, and I was like, darn it, you're right. Because a lot of times we don't necessarily see the win. But every loss, everything that we might consider a loss can be turned into a win with the right perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So we talk to somebody, you know, we try to make a friend with them. They're just totally not hearing it. They're like, nuh-uh, you know, I don't want to talk to you, blah, 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 blah. They just, you know, ignore you or whatever, right? And so, but you did it. You took a step forward.
That's a win.
That's a win for you because you stepped out of your comfort zone and took a chance. And you know what? If you look at it that way, you'll feel great about it. Ryan was talking about self-esteem and self-image. Your self-esteem will go up because you do things that are uncomfortable, even though they're uncomfortable. Sometimes in spite of the fact that they're uncomfortable, you just do them anyway. And what happens is on the other side of that, you're like, oh, I did it. I didn't think I could do it. And you know what? It really wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And that's the other thing I wanted to touch on is that most of the time when we're facing something and we're looking at how it's going to be before we're actually in it, we think it's going to be really a lot worse than it actually turns out to be. Both instances of my exercise and my route turned out the same. They were better than I expected them to be. I had them all built up as these big old monsters in my brain before I actually did them. And then when I actually got through them, I was like, it wasn't too bad. Whatever, that's good. You know, I'm a little out of breath now. I got sweat dripping off of my every pore of my body, but it's all good. You know,
I can see that.
It's on video now.
Oh, sweet.
So anyway, but yeah, I just want to encourage you. Take those steps. On the other side, you feel better. And it really, honestly, a lot of times, most of the time, when we're faced with situations like that, we look at it and it's like this big wall, you know, and we're like, oh my gosh. And it turns out that wall is made of paper. And then when we're on the other side of it, or when we're in it, we're like, hey, I'm actually doing it. This isn't so bad. And then we get done with it and we're like, hey, I actually did it. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was. And I did it, even though I was scared. There's very little in this world that we fear that is actually dangerous to us. Some things we fear are dangerous. You know, base jumping, that's kind of dangerous. You know, skydiving, that can be dangerous. There are other things, you know, but there are most of the things, especially when we're thinking about relationships with other people, all these kinds of, these things aren't necessarily dangerous, but we are afraid of them. And so sometimes I have to ask myself, okay, I'm afraid of this situation. Is there any danger here? Or is this just my mind freaking me out? It's a logical question. And most of the time, the answer comes back, no, this isn't dangerous at all. You're just building it up in your head. That's what I tell myself. And it's like, oh, well, then, all right, well, let's go then, I guess. Nothing dangerous. So, excuse me. Anyway, I don't know. That's pretty much what all I had. So, Ryan?
Yeah, that's
Back to you.
fantastic. Thank you. I guess that wraps it up. Thanks so much, Lil McGee or Little Lily. It's a pleasure doing your topic, and we really appreciate it. Keep going. It sounds like you're going in the right direction. You have a lot of good thoughts and good wisdom already in your post. So, as Joe was saying, so just keep at it. I bet you kind of knew most of this stuff, but sometimes you just need a little encouragement or someone to tell you, hey, yeah, go do that. And you find yourself doing it, and things work out. So yeah, thanks again.
Yeah,
But,
real quick. Shout out to Savage Doorman and Master TNT. You guys are awesome.
awesome. Boom. I know who that is. It took me a moment, but I'm like, wait a minute, I know who that is. Awesome. I want to say their real names because that'd ruin the point of saying it. But yeah. All right. Fantastic. Well, let's go to the next one. Hopefully we've got Anonymous with us. So I'm going to go through the list one more time, and see who we've got. If you are here, let us know in the chat. Feel free to drop a yo, what's up in your mama in the chat, or a dab, or whatever you want.
Whatever you want. Yeah, write the words, whatever you
want. That's 2 words. That's 2 words. You figure out where the space goes. Good luck, guys.
Oh my.
I'll tell you how it goes.
I'm sure you will.
All right. It's Ian Lam, Pear, Little McGee, we could do another one of theirs, but I think we have another person here. So Ezekiel Games, Ploen, Dracon, Lord Francian, LG, and an anonymous person. If you're anonymous, don't put anything in the chat to represent yourself, but we will know you're here. We've got eyes everywhere.
Meow just did whatever you want in 1 word.
Where'd you put the space?
There's no
space. He put the space.
One
the space
word.
The space goes at the end of that word.
Or before.
Yeah. I'll tell you how it goes. It's WH space HEVER UWANT.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's awesome. Thanks, Meow.
Yeah, thanks, Meow. Love you, man. You're awesome. In 1 word. All right. So let's do the anonymous.
Okay.
Cool.
Something just fell on my foot.
Hey. We haven't actually had this one in a while. This is romance advice.
Oh boy.
Which, like I said, we haven't gotten the chance to have a romance advice in a little while. Which is probably good. But it's nice to switch things up every once in a while. So yeah, this is from Anonymous. It's titled Romance Advice, and Princess will do the honors of reading it.
I'd like to hear what romance advice y'all have to offer, and any other thoughts that y'all have on romance that you'd like to share. From Anonymous.
Fantastic.
Nice.
Short and simple.
Concise, simple.
It's not very specific. It's pretty wide. So any romance advice. I think that's good. I think on that kind of topic, I can sort of do a short quiz here on Joe, and that is saying basically, if you were to think about it for a while, it's fine if you need to. If you were to give anybody advice when it comes to romance, what's the best thing you could give? What's the best thing you can share with somebody who's young and they're looking for love? What's not necessarily to find love, but how to live out an effective romance romantic relationship, marriage, etc. Those type of things in your life and how you've experienced it. What kind of things would you have to share that you think would be hard to find elsewhere, but really important?
You're asking me?
Yeah, that's to you.
Oh, I thought you were asking this hypothetically.
Oh no, yeah, I'm hypothetically asking, so I'm not really asking this question. Yeah, Joe, you're awesome.
Let's see. Romance advice. Simply put, avoid.
Yeah, that's
Sorry.
what I said.
I'm
Pro
just
tip,
kidding.
stay single.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You know, but I'll tell you this: there's no shame in being single. There's no shame in staying single. You know, you know, it's great. The thing about romance. Okay, so we could go a whole bunch of different directions with this. We could go
Yeah.
all the different kinds of love that there are out there. You know, there's like 4 different kinds of love. There's you know, all that kind of stuff. But you know, one thing about romance, when we have those feelings, right? The feelings of romance, the feelings,
Feelings.
the attraction and all that kind of stuff. A lot of times it's about us and our feelings. And we get caught up in the feelings. And it's great. It is. It's blissful and it's wonderful. And you know, like the we've got chemicals in our brains and you know all kinds of stuff going on and you know we make all kinds of crazy decisions and we spend all kinds of money, you know, sometimes, or you know, whatever. And you know, like what's the song? Chantilly lace and a pretty face. Yep. She make me act all fun and make me spend my money.
My gosh.
um yes. Raka, I like it. Raka says, I've learned a lot about being single. It's actually a beautiful thing. I would probably argue it's just as beautiful as being in a romantic relationship or being married. You're absolutely right. There is beauty in being single. There's beauty in being married. There's beauty in that companionship. There's beauty, all of these areas. You can find beauty. You can also find challenge in all of them as well. I remember my buddy got married. I was his best man in his wedding. And something happened at the reception, you know, some kind of blowout happened and there was some kind of fight. And I remember the father of the bride came to me and was talking to me. He's like, "Man, day one they're already having marriage problems." And I'm like, "Yeah, I guarantee, man, they're going to have marriage problems." He looked at me. He's like, "What? What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "They're married. They're going to have marriage problems. If you're married, you have marriage problems. If you're single, you have single problems." He's like, "Oh, I get it. So you're just going to have problems." I'm like, "Exactly. The point, you're going to have problems, right? The key is figuring it out." And so that's something, you know, a lot of times, you know, we can, there, I don't even know. I'm at a loss. There's so many different directions I want to take this.
That's great. Take them all, man.
Take them all. We're gonna be here till oh my gosh,
Ain't
what
nobody
day?
got time for that.
What time does tomorrow get here?
12 usually.
12
12 my time.
12 my time.
I don't know about anybody else.
What about
I guess
Kitty
0.
Bati time?
Yeah, Kiribati, baby. Oh yeah,
Hey,
baby.
I
I'll tell you what.
I wore my tribute to Kiribati shirt.
Kiribati.
Yeah.
Guys, if you don't know Kiribati, Google it. It's the best place to live on Earth.
The best place.
If you're looking for a right temperature.
Yeah,
Anything else,
yes.
don't go there. If you're looking for the internet, don't go there.
That's awesome. But so there's some different things. So okay, so if you're in the situation where you have feelings for another person and those feelings are not shared by that other person, that can be a painful experience. I've definitely experienced that myself. And that can be hard. And sometimes, you know, we feel this, we just really want to be close to this person. but we know it's never going to happen, or they've expressed it's never going to happen, or whatever, right? And so we just kind of sit there with this bunched up, tied up in knots thing, and it can hurt. But one of the things that I learned about loving another person is it's not about me. It's not about me. I remember hearing a guy giving a marriage discussion one time. And he says, he'll sit there and he's a priest, right? And so he was like talking about, as he's marrying these people, he's like, okay, so how did he put it? He's like, marriage will kill you. And if it doesn't, it's not really marriage. Because what it is, it's the total gift of yourself to another person. And so maybe you don't want to go as far as just the whole marriage topic, but in a romantic relationship, this is the challenge. Because we're drawn to the romance because of how we feel. But romance really only works when we give ourselves. Amidst pain, amidst hardship, amidst struggle, all of that. And it's a sacrificial type of thing where we give ourselves. And I'm not saying be a doormat. I'm not saying let somebody abuse you or let somebody use you or anything like that, because that's not appropriate. Because that's not good for them. I'm going to steal a little bit of Ryan's thunder because I know one of the things he's going to say.
I don't know what I'm going to say yet.
I know one of the things you're going to say.
Thank you, Joe.
Yep. So, and I'm going to take it. Love is desiring the best for another person. That's what love is. It's when we desire the greatest good for that other person. And the greatest good for them is not to be mistreating other people. That's not good for them to think it's okay to mistreat other people. So I've been caught in this trap before where, I'll just let myself be a doormat for this person because I love them and I want to make them happy. And I feel like if I just let them have their way all the time, then they'll be happy, but that's not what's best for them.
It usually doesn't make them happy either.
And it does. No, what happens? Okay, we all know this. What happens to a kid who gets everything they want?
Spoiled, rotten kid.
Spoiled.
Always
rotten
sad.
Kid. Always upset. Always angry.
Upset.
Oh, yep. Exactly. So if we do that in a romantic situation, we will create a monster. So, as we're navigating these personal relationships, yes, it's a total gift of self. We're giving ourselves in a way to this person. But we need to do it in a way remembering their greatest good, remembering what's best for them. And, there are lots of people, throughout my past, I've fallen in love a handful of times. And sometimes, loving that other person and wanting what's best for them was me not being their companion. Because I wasn't going to be their best companion. Or whatever, right? So sometimes love means taking a step back. And that's never easy. And it's okay to curl up in a ball and cry. I know I've said that before. I've been
Done
there.
that once.
What's that?
I done that once for a
Yep.
relationship.
Yep. We do it. Our emotions can take over sometimes. And that's okay. It's okay. So, yep. I don't know. That's kind of what I got. There are lots of other directions I could go, but I've talked for a while. I'm going to turn it over to you, Ryan. So have at it.
I got nothing, man. Yeah, it was great what you were saying. I think you really had a lot to say that was really good.
Oh,
And
I've
I
got
think
more.
I would rather just give my set to you if you wanna do my bit too. That's like, go for it, man. I'll give you this opportunity, man. Look, you're in a relationship. I'm not in a romantic relationship. So what do I have,
Well,
to-
because I'm married.
I have plenty of experience, but regardless, I can argue that, hey, I'm not in a relationship right now, so I don't know anything. Um, but yeah, if you want to take the
Well,
floor, go for it, man.
you know, love is a happy time.
Wow, this Brack.
I'm not going there. Yeah.
Brack is awesome.
Brack is awesome.
Brack knows romance.
Brack. Lee, gentlemen, you're on your date, and you walk your date to the door, and she says, "I had a really nice time," and he says, "I had a really nice time too, sweetie." And then give her a big old handshake, because that's what she likes.
I love that. When she leans in real close, give her a big old handshake, because that's what she likes. Yes,
there's a tip for me.
absolutely. Yeah, Brack knows romance. He's smart.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I guess I could go into the different kinds of love, okay? So, and I actually just looked this up. So we have filial love, which is brotherly love, right? We have eros, which is romance. We have storge, which is family. And we have agape, which is the unconditional love. That really, agape is the goal. That's the one where we should be striving to. That's the unconditional, I love you regardless of what you do. Because most of the time, honestly, when we think about it, when we love somebody, it's conditional. It's based on, hey, you know what, as long as you're nice to me, or as long as whatever. Now, here's the thing. I got married. I said, hey, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, till death do us part. As long as we both shall live. I remember those words coming out of my mouth. It wasn't as long as we both still feel like it. That's a scary proposition, right?
As long as we think it's a good idea. Not even that.
Not even that, right? As long as we don't have a problem or two, right? As long as we don't get money figured out, or as long as we don't, whatever. There's all kinds of stuff. But really, one of the most satisfying kinds of love that's out there is filial love. The brotherly love, the kind that we share with our friends that are kind of comrades with us, like the love that I have for Ryan, which, I really feel like it's, I strive for it to be agape, but, filial is probably the category it rests in most securely, maybe? I don't know. But, I love you unconditionally. I don't think there's anything you could do that would make me,
Yeah, I think in our friendship, in our relationship, it's pretty much just agape, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do. But I think part of that is understanding the other person's soul and their heart.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because we know each other well enough that even if someone, like, even if you did something bad to me on purpose to make me feel bad,
Mm-hmm.
my mind would be like, that was weird of Joe. And I would let it pass. And then I would just carry out, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Now I have a goal.
yeah, hurt me on purpose, buddy. See what happens. Test my forgiveness.
Yes.
Don't make me test my forgiveness. I'm really good at it. I've had a lot of experience.
Yep. But, well, okay, so probably the better way to say it is it started as filial.
Yeah.
You know, before we really knew each other, you know, that was where it was. And it's cool because at that point in time, people, you know, you're kind of free to come and go as you please, whatever. Here's the interesting thing. When you get into eros, when you get into romance, there's like a possessiveness that kind of can take over. And you really have to be careful because you start towing this line between I really like this person on one end and I'm addicted to this person on the other end. And you start to notice this. You know, if you start asking yourself these questions, if you're starting to kind of, you know, be creepy or whatever, you know, that might be a sign that you're starting to develop an addiction to a person. If, you know, if there's a possessiveness that kind of takes over and you're always wondering what they're doing or who they're talking to or what's going on, and you want to be like the one person that they are interacting with all the time or whatever, now we're starting to talk about addiction. And that's dangerous. I've been there before too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird because, you know, when we're spending time with that person, it feels so good and it's wonderful and it's great and it's amazing. But then when we're not with them, we're starting to ask all these questions. Oh, I wonder who they're hanging out with. Oh, I wonder what they're doing. Oh, I wonder, you know, oh man, they're not with me. Da, 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 da. And our mind starts going crazy.
They were like, wow, I just caught them spending an hour with another person and it wasn't me. Why didn't they contact me? You could have spent that hour with me. They must hate me.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now we're starting to get into addiction, unfortunately. And so then how do you deal with that, Ryan?
You got a problem to solve inside yourself.
Yeah.
And you need to slap yourself around a little bit and get that out of you.
It's true. Now, it's not necessarily just as easy as slapping yourself around now, is it?
No, it's not. No.
It's not necessarily that simple.
Do you want me to have a turn where you want me to talk about this? Or
yeah, sure.
Is that opportunity? Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, well, when that's going on, I think you have to be real with yourself. And you have to be like, yeah, this is what's going on. That's the first step, right? Mm-hmm. When you realize you're addicted, you go, whoa, hey, I'm addicted to this. Now, they say that's true about drugs and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, it seems cliche. Mm-hmm. You know, the first thing to do is admit that you have a problem. But it's true even in this case, right? When you have like a romantic addiction or an emotional addiction to a person or even an animal or whatever it is, you know, the first thing you do is go, okay, this isn't good. And I need to come up with a game plan to fix it. Mm-hmm. That's important. That's your second step. Second step is come up with a game plan to fix it. So understanding what's made you come to this point might help, but also understanding how your brain works or how, I guess, understanding what you need to do to get out of it is important. So first step, obviously, figure out, okay, I have a problem, and be real with yourself, admit it, and be like, okay, then I got to solve it. I actually have to start taking actions to solve it. Because without actions, it's just going to remain. Mm-hmm. So what are my actions? That's number 2. What are my actions? Let's figure it out. Come up with a game plan. So the game plan, in my case, was one of the reasons I'm acting like this is because I have a low self-esteem. Mm. When you have a low self-esteem, when you don't think the best of yourself, it's really easy to get addicted to romance of another person. Mm-hmm. It's easy to get addicted and emotionally attached to someone if they are your rock or they are your crutch or they make you feel good about yourself or make you feel good in general. Mm-hmm. If they make you feel good when nothing else in life seems to, then that can be an easy source of addiction. Mm-hmm. Your brain wants it's a mechanic in your brain to desire romance when you dislike yourself. And one of the reasons is because when we are children, we don't get our value by analyzing ourselves. We get our value by looking up. And whose face do we see? Mom and dad. How do they treat us? What are they doing? They're feeding us. They're spending moments with us. They come to us when we cry, right? The first sense of value we get as an individual comes from, and our identity and all that kind of stuff comes from our parents and how they treat us when we're little, right? When we cry and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If they take care of us, when we poop our pants, it happens because you're 0. You're not gonna do anything about it. There's no control.
Yep.
They come to our aid, right? And so we immediately go, okay, we're valuable. Look at how they care for us, right? And then that continues throughout our life when it shouldn't. There comes to a point when we reach about 7 years old where we can start to judge and understand and gauge things. It's the age of, what do they say? Age of
reason.
Age of reason, yeah, age of reason. And about the age of 7, it varies, but it's when it's not like all of a sudden, something, boom, a part of your brain appears and then you can reason. No, it's just a matter of things building up over time. So sometimes people reach the age of reason before 7, sometimes it's after. But regardless, some people, it seems like they never get there. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
It's true.
It's true about some people. We love them.
Yes. Yes.
So, and it's like, at that point, we can start to understand, like, hey, my value isn't actually based on my parents and what they think. But there's a part of us that keeps thinking that. There's a part of us that keeps thinking how people see us matters, how we feel about ourselves. We should decide how we feel about ourselves based on other people. But that's wrong. And we've talked about it on the stream many times because you cannot win there. Ultimately, it's not a battle you can win because there is nobody out there who's going to give you the attention you literally deserve as a human being because you exist. Mm-hmm. And that is constant attention. That is constant loving attention. No one can give that to you. And even hundreds of people that won't give it to you throughout the day. You're going to have moments where those people aren't there to give you that love and affection and attention. Mm-hmm. But our brain goes, hey, I'm not impressed with myself. The only times I feel happy is when I'm around this person. And the reason our mind makes us feel happy around that person is because it lets off all of these emotions. Right? So all of the serotonin in our brain, right? And so we go, oh, I like that, and so you want to get close to that person. You want that person to love you back because you think that would make you the happiest person in the world. And then all of a sudden, all your problems would be over and you would like depression would never exist again. And you would be happy for the rest of your life. That's no. It doesn't ever happen. It's just our brain being dumb. All right. So when you are addicted to someone, there's a chance that the reason is because you have a low self-esteem. That might not be the problem. But that's why I said it's important to identify yourself, because then you can start a game plan. If the problem is, okay, I don't love myself. The reason I want love for them is because I don't love myself, right? Here's the thing. If you tell them you love them and they don't respond, I love you back, and it hurts you, there's a problem. There's a big problem. Because why do you tell someone you love them? Just so you can hear it back? Just you love them because do you say I love you because you want to be loved and you want to hear them say it back? Or do you say I love you because you want to make sure that person feels loved and you don't care because you're not giving out your love so that you can receive it back? You don't care about that. You actually just genuinely go, hey, at this moment, all I care about is making sure that I love you and you feel that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the moments when you should say I love you, which should be often, not just to the people that are in romance with, but to your friends and to your family,
Mm-hmm.
right? When you say it to your mom, right? If she doesn't say I love you back, you're just like, whatever. I didn't even wait for it. I was already out of the room because I didn't care. So if that's how you feel, that's awesome. Then self-esteem isn't your problem. Then it's a different problem. But I don't know what the problem is for you. But come up with a game plan to start fixing your addiction. And a lot of times that does come from loving yourself. But for me, it was okay. I need to work on my self-esteem. So let's start doing the right things again. Let's start doing things for other people without asking, without them asking me, and without them knowing that I did it for them. So I went immediately. Like when I figured this out about myself one time, I was like, "Ooh, I gotta come up with a game plan. I gotta start doing something." And so I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go do the dishes." And so I went into the like it was like 12 a.m. I went and I did all the dishes, and then my mom woke up in the morning, and I didn't tell her I did it, but she figured it out. But I didn't want her to know. I didn't want anybody to know. I just wanted to try to keep it in secret, right? And I try to do more things for other people in secret without them knowing who it was, because I realized that was something I needed to do. I needed to act out love, right, without having to receive it,
Mm-hmm.
but just actually loving. And so I started doing that, right? And the other thing I started doing was basically correcting my brain. Whenever I thought a thought, I would go, "Hey, nope, that's not the way we need to be thinking about this. Let's try to spin it the opposite direction." Like, if it was a negative thing, I turn it into a positive, things like that. But um, yeah, that's that. So how do you get over addiction? I'm like over that feeling. Like I said, it might be different for you from anybody else, but that's my best. So yeah, that was a little bit redundant, but I hope that covered what you're looking for, Joe.
Oh yeah, no, that was great.
Okay.
Yeah, because sometimes we have to let the emotion kind of wash over us a little bit, i.e.,
Mhm.
curl up in a ball and cry,
Yeah,
and
yeah. No, that's sometimes that works.
mm-hmm. But that's a good first step because if especially as we start to come to these realizations where we're like, okay, I love this person and they don't love me back, or I love this person and it's actually bad for me because it's an addiction, it's not actually love, and so then we can kind of release all that. But I love what Ryan was getting at, do things that will build your self-esteem, and those things are virtues. Those things, start to live with virtues and to treat people lovingly without expecting anything in return. What that's going to do is it's going to raise your self-image to the point where now you can start to feel like you don't need that person anymore. You don't
Yeah.
need their validation. You don't need the feeling that you get from them. You know, it was funny. I actually looked this up at one point in time about what to do in that type of situation, and it was funny. They agreed with me because what do I say on every show?
Don't worry, Wednesday.
Yep, and
Welcome.
I
Don't.
say
No, that's
and I
that's every other show.
say one of the things you need to do is exercise.
Yeah. There you go.
Because what that does is it raises your self-image. Unless you do it really hard and a lot and it's exhausting and then sometimes you just want to go to sleep. But, like
But then you feel good about who you are the next morning when you wake up.
you do.
Because you're like, yeah, I did it. You don't
You
feel good in your body though. Your body still
no,
aches.
you're hurting. You're like, "Oh my gosh."
Why did I do that? Oh, but I'm awesome. Oh, I'm so awesome.
I'm
But
so
why did I
awesome.
do
Oh, I
that?
can't even move.
Check how strong I am. I can't even move right now. I'm so strong. It's nuts.
Yes, hero. I said the E word, exercise. But this was on all these things, advice about, getting over this specific type of problem where we have a really deep crush or we have this kind of addiction, and how do we get past it or how do we deal with it or whatever, right? And that was one of the things. And it was really cool to see because I was like, yeah, that's absolutely right. What it'll do is it'll help us think right about ourselves. It kind of rewires our brain,
Hmm.
which is good, and it helps us kind of think logically. Another thing you can do is get busy doing something. Get busy doing something creative. You know, I it's the weirdest thing. I play music, right? And so I do that. But one of the other things that I really enjoy doing is origami.
Nice.
It's relaxing. You know, it hurts my fingertips after a while to do a bunch of it.
Don't you play the guitar?
Because exactly. See, I have those calluses, which is great.
Oh, yeah.
It's extra protection. So my left fingertips don't hurt as bad as my right fingertips.
Ah, that's right. That's right.
But, you know, these are different things that we can do. It helps us to kind of take our mind off things. It helps us to kind of, you know, gives us something productive to do, something creative to do.
I think another note, that I just kind of thought in passing, in human life, throughout all of human existence, right? One thing to keep in mind, we are animals, right?
Mm-hmm.
You look at humankind and you think, well, the amount of suicide, right, a long time ago isn't as high as it is now. And the easier life becomes and the more, that sort of thing, the easier life gets and less physical we have to be, the more suicide happens. Now, doesn't mean people who exercise a lot have less suicide. However, I think there is something important about having work,
Mm-hmm.
working hard,
Mm-hmm.
working hard at something, even if it's just toning your body, right? Working hard gives us satisfaction. As animals, we are supposed to be doing that. And when we get away from that for too long, it can be really hard to feel good about yourself and
Mm-hmm.
feel like you don't need more than you don't need someone else to be your crutch. You don't need somebody else to dote on you. You don't need somebody else's affection to be happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's important to work hard.
Yep, I would agree with that. And what do you work at then? Whatever you want. You can work hard physically. You can work hard at your job. You can get another job. I don't. Hey, who knows?
Get 4 jobs.
Get 4 jobs. Get 3. Actually, I had 3 jobs at one point. That was. Ugh. I don't think I'd ever want to do that again.
Yeah, no, my mom had 3 for a while, and
That's hard.
yeah.
Yep. Hero says, in tandem with that, I recently been reflecting on the fact that it's good for us to know how to be bored.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Often we try to find some distraction rather than just sitting and being, and that is super important. How
Absolutely.
can you sit and just exist?
Oh yeah, I love it. But most people don't.
That's true. That's true. Most of the time, it's absolutely true. A lot of times we need a distraction. We need something happening. We need sound. We need noise. We need whatever, right? And truth be told, even when I'm meditating and clearing my mind and doing all that kind of stuff, I still have white noise going in the background. It's my computer fan, fans, multiple that are in the computer, right? They're over across the room going. But but I'll sit there and Raka is when I'm bored I realize how much of an idiot I am. Come on, man. If that's the case, then we're all idiots.
Yeah, that's part of being bored. That's part of the fun.
It's part and truly, we all can be at times. Well, I won't say we are idiots. I say, okay, we can all act like idiots. There was a quote somebody said, I get 15 minutes of stupid every day. I'm entitled to that.
That's it.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's pretty. Yeah.
I go
I get more
overboard
than
like
that.
every single day. Dang, just 15. I gotta step it back.
Man, oh man, yeah. Ryan, we're watching you.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Jeez.
I don't know. But yeah, I don't know, man. We're plumbing all kinds of depths with this whole romance.
Yeah. I was about to talk about being bored, and then I was like, no, it's a tangent. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about romance.
Yep. But romance is a beautiful thing. It truly is.
Mm-hmm.
Without romance, we wouldn't have families. we wouldn't have new life. You know, there's all kinds of great gifts that romance brings to the world. And also the feeling of companionship and that feeling of closeness and that feeling of oneness with another person. And, you know, all these things are beautiful. And it's also, you know, it's powerful. So it can be powerfully beautiful. It can also be powerfully painful. And it can be both at the same time. Sometimes when we sacrifice for another person because we love them and it hurts, that's one of the most beautiful things and one of the most respectable and honorable things. I know there are people in my life that I look up to so much because of sacrifices they've made for the sake of loving another person or a group of people or just people in general. When we give freely of ourselves for the benefit of others, that is so noble and so honorable. And if we go into a romantic situation thinking like that, where I'm going to make myself a gift for this other person, I'm going to make myself into a gift for this other person, in whatever way is best for them, then romance is very, very beautiful. But because romance is so powerful, it can turn into a self-seeking addiction. And so we always have to be asking ourselves, where am I at in this? How am I feeling in this situation? What stage am I in? Am I in the stage of giving of myself so this person can, you know, be a better person or have better things happen for them or whatever? Or am I looking to fulfill a need in me? Am I loving outward or am I loving inward? And if the answer to that question is inward, okay, it's not time to beat yourself up, because we all get there from time to time. We shift back and forth. It's one of those beautiful roller coasters of peaks and valleys. You know, we kind of cycle through these times, right? It just kind of is a natural thing. But if we find ourselves and we're seeking, we're like grasping at this feeling, this love feeling that we really want to have for us, and we notice that, then it's time to start doing things like what Ryan was talking about, where, you know, maybe we need to start making a game plan, admitting, okay, maybe I have an addiction here, or maybe just take the word maybe out, you know?
Yeah, maybe I'm going about things the wrong way, or actually, no, I'm going about things the wrong way.
Yep, exactly. And how do we turn that then? How do we turn that self-seeking love into a freely giving love? Because it's so interesting how ironic things turn out, because we think if we just get more for ourselves, we're going to feel fulfilled. We're going to fill ourselves up with this, and we're going to be filled to the full, right? But fulfillment only comes from when we fully give ourselves. That's when we feel fulfillment. Bishop Robert Barron,
Yeah, buddy,
said one time, he's awesome. he remembers there was this particular picture of the crucifixion that was exceptionally bloody and just grotesque, I guess you might call, like very, very bloody. And he looked at that image and he said, the thought came to his head, that is the most fulfilled, that a person could be right there. And I'm not saying in a masochistic way, because it's not that, hey, if you torture yourself and, are into blood and guts and all that kind of stuff, you're going to be fulfilled. No, it's not. That's not the point. The point is that in that moment, Jesus, that was on that cross, he had given every ounce of himself for the sake of the people of the world. Every bit of his dignity, every bit of his blood, every bit of his life, every bit of everything. He gave all of it. And it's like, that's true fulfillment right there. Because when we give of ourselves for the sake of other people, that's when we feel fulfilled. And ultimately, romance, it's about giving ourselves for the sake of another person. So anyway, I've beat this horse a long time. Ryan, save everybody from my words.
I think there's a lot more that could be said, really. And I mean, especially if you get into, religious talk, because marriage is such a beautiful thing, and it's what do you call that? Whatever. It's a activity that you take up to do for God. Anyways, I forget it's not covenant. No, things Friends says. It is a covenant, yes. But shoot, in the Catholic rite, it is priests do theirs. Marriage is another one, and
Sacrament.
Then, thank you, sacrament. Or said order though. There's but yes, sure, sacrament. But sacrament is one thing that is also another thing that is like an order of some type, but I forget what the word for it is.
Okay.
If I said it, you'd be like, oh, okay, yeah. But whatever. Marriage is a sacrament though too, and I think that it's beautiful. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry. I'm gonna just throw a snorkel.
Snorkel? Yeah, no. Yeah, no, not that one. I don't think so. How is marriage a snorkel? You go 2 eye holes, 1 mouth hole. I don't know.
Because you feel like you're drowning.
Yeah, I guess you feel like you're drowning, but they're your lifeline. They're the one drowning you, and they're your lifeline. Okay. But no, it obviously romance, marriage is a beautiful thing. And the point of marriage is ultimately to help the other person get to heaven. And God gives you that command, right? Through your marriage, your intention is for her, and her intention is for you. So basically means the best for both of you, right? Mm-hmm. Her intention should be the best of you, and yours is hers. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot more that can be said. I think an endless amount of detail can go into romance, but I think we did a good job. I hope everybody enjoyed our discussion at least. But we're running at about 2 hours now, so I think it is about time to close it down. So I just want to thank everybody. Thank Anonymous for giving us the topic. It was a good topic, and thank you guys, all of you, for being here, for spending time with us, and for writing in the chat your funnies and your advice, and for just hanging with us. Also, thank you to Joe for being awesome and sharing his wisdom, and as well, Princess, for being our manager, for keeping us under control and on topics. getting the links in the chats, getting all the things on the forums and all that kind of stuff. Thanks, Princess. You're amazing. So yeah, that's all. That's what I got.
You're awesome.
Anything else? Anybody else?
Thank you,
Anybody
Ryan,
else?
for being awesome.
Oh, thank you. Anybody in the chat want to say anything? Any closing statements from you guys in the chat? I'll give you guys 3 seconds.
Joe of the chat, what is your wisdom? I.
AYE?
Yep.
Nice.
I don't know.
Buenas noches.
I love you. I love
you
all
guys.
of you. You guys are amazing. So,
You guys are awesome.
Yes. Thank you guys for being here.
Well, bye-bye, guys.
We'll
Much
see you
love.
next week.
Bye-bye. Peace.